Hi friends, welcome to the Cooking with Kyle show and my kitchen. I'm really happy that you joined me today because I'm going to be making one of my favorite recipes and one of my favorite appliances in the kitchen. The recipe we're going to be making today is a sweet potato and zucchini khichdi. Now a khichdi, you may not have heard of that before. It comes from the country of India. And a khichdi contains two basic ingredients. It contains a lentil and a grain. Our khichdi today is going to be made with basmati rice and a yellow lentil. And I'll show you both of those once we're cooking and getting everything prepared. And the other ingredients in our khichdi, like I said, it's going to be zucchini, sweet potato, yellow lentil, basmati rice. We'll throw in some Indian spices, which I'll talk about a little bit later. We'll throw in some ghee, which is kind of like an Indian butter. We'll throw in a little olive oil, and we'll throw in some salt. So let me talk a little bit about what we're going to be cooking the recipe in. This is a small little rice cooker, and the great thing about this rice cooker is it's computerized, which means you can actually program this rice cooker to cook on different settings depending upon the type of grain that you're cooking in the rice cooker. And you can also computerize or program this to finish at a certain time of the day. So if you are going to be out and about leading a busy lifestyle and don't have time to prepare lunch or dinner when you get home, you can prepare that food earlier in the day, set your rice cooker timer, and the food will be ready when you get home. So I've been using this rice cooker now for about 5 years for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I just love it, and one other function that's great about it, it has an ability to keep the food warm. So even if the food is finished cooking, you can keep the food warm in the rice cooker for 6-7 hours, however long you want to keep that food warm and have the ability to eat it. So I'm really excited about cooking with you guys today. The great thing about this recipe, and one reason I really love it, is that it only takes about 10 minutes of prep time to get everything in the rice cooker. And so it's really simple, really easy, and it also tastes really good. So let's get cooking. All right, so let's take a closer look at our ingredients. Our first ingredient is our Indian lentil. This is called a moong dal, and here's the bag that I recently purchased from a local Indian store. We're actually only going to be using a half cup of this, so this will last for quite some time. Our second ingredient is some basmati rice. And you can get this at pretty much any grocer. And we're also going to be using a half cup of the basmati rice. Our next ingredient is one zucchini. And we're going to be using a whole zucchini. And then we're going to be using a sweet potato. And we're actually only going to use half a sweet potato for this recipe. And this sweet potato is actually of the garnet variety. And I believe most stores should carry this. Probably you'd have a better chance at a natural grocery store to get the garnet variety. So these are the only ingredients that we're going to cook in the rice cooker. Our other ingredients we're actually going to add after our cooking is finished. We're going to add some Indian spices. Here's an Indian spice mix that I actually prepared on my own, and in a future episode of Cooking with Kyle, I'm going to show you guys how to make your own Indian spice mix. Then we'll be adding some ghee, and this is the Indian butter that I talked about earlier. And this is actually some homemade ghee, and it's very tasty. And I think for another episode, I'll show you how to make your own ghee. If you want to buy some, you can buy it at an Indian grocer, or most natural food stores do carry ghee. We'll throw in some salt, and then we'll also put in some olive oil. And this is some great Kalamata olive oil from Trader Joe's that I really enjoy. So let's go ahead and get started with the prep. The first thing we need to do is mix our mung dal and our rice. So I'll go ahead and open up my rice cooker here and take out the inner pot. And let me just set this bag up here and get it out of the way. So like I said, we're going to use about a half cup of the mung dal. And I'll just spin that open. And the great thing about the rice cooker in this recipe is that you don't have to be exact in your measurements. So this looks like a little bit more than half a cup, but we'll just toss it in there. And by the way, this little plastic cup does come with the rice cooker. We'll put this back. And then we'll go to our basmati rice. And we're also looking for just about a half cup of the basmati rice. So we'll get it a little bit. All right, we'll toss that in there. And I'll just throw my little plastic cup back in my rice for next time. So now we need to go ahead and just wash both the rice and the mung dal. So I'll go ahead and start that process. So I'm filling up my rice cooker bowl with water to wash the basmati rice and mung dal. And I'm basically just getting enough water a little more water to cover. And then I'm just using my hands to move the water around and wash both the rice and the mung dal. And then very carefully, I'm pouring out the cloudy water, careful to not lose any of the rice or the mung dal. And we don't need to pour all the water out, we can get it the next time. So the water is starting to look more clear than it was the first time we rinsed. And I'm not sure exactly, honestly, why I'm washing this. It's just how I was taught the recipe, and just prefer to do it this way. All right. I lost a couple there. That's all right. And we are ready to put the rice cooker insert into the rice cooker. All right, the next step in preparing our sweet potato and zucchini khichdi is simply chopping up our sweet potato and our zucchini. So I'll grab this knife here and we'll first do the sweet potato. And like I said, we're only going to use about half the sweet potato. So I'll go ahead and cut this in half here. All right, we'll set that guy up here and we'll use this half. And what I like to do is go ahead and peel the sweet potato. So I'll just take a vegetable peeler and just start peeling it. And it requires a little bit of strength to get this guy peeled. It's not like a carrot. And now that I've just about got it peeled, I'm going to go ahead and cut the sweet potato in very thin slices. And then I'm going to quarter the sweet potato. And I quarter the sweet potato and I just halve the zucchini, because the sweet potato is a little denser and it requires a little more cooking than the zucchini. So I'm going to very carefully here just start slicing the sweet potato in small slices. And it's really helpful to have a nice chef's knife to do this with, a nice long chef's knife. Make sure it's nice and sharpened. So So as I get closer here to the end, it gets a little tricky. So I'm actually going to flip my last little bit here and slice it this way. Just a little safer to do it this way. And so I don't cut myself. All right. Now, like I said, we're going to go ahead and quarter the sweet potato. And what that means is I'm simply going to stack my sweet potato slices. Cut it in half. I'm going to spin it here and cut it in quarters. And it's nice to have a little bowl to toss your sweet potato wedges in. And as you cook this recipe more and more, you can get really quick at this, and it takes no time at all. Now these guys, these are already halved, so I'll just go ahead and quarter them. We don't need to be perfect with this recipe or chopping these guys. Alrighty, so our sweet potato is all set. And now we're going to move on to the zucchini. And with the zucchini, I'm essentially going to cut small, fairly medium-sized slices and then just cut it in half. So let me show you how I'm going to do this. So I'll just start. And once I get these all sliced up, I'm going to halve them. And so now, like I did with the sweet potato, I will stack some of my zucchini slices up, and I will just halve them right there. Go and put them in the same bowl as the sweet potato. It's all going to go into our rice cooker together at the same time. And one nice thing about this dish that I really like is just the colors associated. The green, the orange, and with the yellow dal. I just really like the colors of the dish. So at this point, we are going to go ahead and put our zucchini and our sweet potato in the rice cooker. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we are cooking this recipe on the porridge setting in my rice cooker. And the nice thing about this insert bowl of the rice cooker is it has different levels to fill water up. And there's a porridge level for 1 cup, and we used 1 cup of the rice cooker. So I'm going to go ahead and take this bowl out and fill this up with some water. And since we're cooking some sweet potato in here, we want to go ahead and add a little bit more water than the 1 cup level. We're going to actually fill it right up to about the porridge level. And I like to just take my bowl and spin it a couple times on my cutting board just to make sure everything levels out. And then I will put it back in the rice cooker. Go ahead and close the lid. And it's now time to program the rice cooker. With this rice cooker, there are 3 different settings. You have a white rice setting, a brown rice setting, or a porridge setting. And what I've found with all my experience with this rice cooker is that with the moong dal, adding the moong dal to the rice cooker, it best cooks on the porridge setting. So I simply press this menu button until I get down to the porridge setting, which is a couple clicks of the menu button. And then it's lunchtime now, and I'm making this for dinner for myself tonight. And I'm going to be heading out with some friends this afternoon, so when I get back, I want to have my food ready. So I'm going to set the timer till about 7 o'clock this evening. So what I want to do is I just click the timer button, and it will start blinking, and then we have an hours and minute function. And so I will simply go ahead and move the hour to 7 p.m. There we are, and I don't need to obviously touch the minutes. And once I have my timer set, I simply hit the cook reheat button. There you go, wazam, bajam. We are all ready. So at probably around 5:45 tonight, my rice cooker is going to start making some noise. It's going to start cooking. And then at 7 o'clock, my food will be ready. And I'll know that by the keep warm button will be blinking yellow. And if I'm not ready quite to eat at 7 o'clock, I can simply go ahead and press the keep warm button. So it, rather than blinking yellow, it will just stay yellow and my food will stay warm. But right about 7 o'clock tonight, we'll go ahead and add the other ingredients. We'll add the spice mix, we'll add the ghee, we'll add the salt and the olive oil. Welcome back. I've returned from my day's activities and here we are with my rice cooker. And I know that my rice cooker has finished cooking because as you can see, the yellow light, there's a yellow light on the rice cooker that's blinking. And that yellow light is coming from the keep warm off button. And at this point, I am not quite ready to eat. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to press that button twice. And that's going to make the light turn yellow. And that's going to tell me that my food is keeping warm in the rice cooker. You can keep food warm in the rice cooker for up to 10, 11, 12 hours. I simply just need to press this button 2 times and then it will turn yellow, and that tells me that the keep warm function is on and my food in the rice cooker is staying warm. And at this point, we are going to add the condiments to our sweet potato and zucchini khichdi. So to open up the rice cooker, I simply press this button and the lid pops up. And wow, look at that. So it looks actually quite good. We've got our zucchini nicely cooked up there underneath or right above our sweet potato. And so what I like to do first is just go ahead and stir up my food before I add the condiments. And one thing about this rice cooker that you should know is it's really important to use the spoon that comes with the rice cooker, because this is a titanium pot, and if you use metal against that, it will scratch up the pot. So it's really important to use this spoon that comes with the rice cooker, or use a wooden spoon is fine as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and dig in here and start to stir it up. And as you can see, it has come out a little bit watery, but that's actually going to disperse through the food as I stir it up here. All right, so now we'll just leave that there. And now we're going to go ahead and add our condiments. So the first thing I like to add is my spices. And like I had mentioned, this is a custom made spice mix, homemade spice mix, that in a future show I'll show you how to do that yourself. I like to do a little more than half a teaspoon. So I'll go ahead and throw that in there. And then next is some salt. And you're probably wondering, why do I not have this in a salt shaker? And the reason being is this is actually a special type of salt that I use. Also comes from the country of India. And it just works better to go and use a spoon to dish this out. So I'll throw a little salt in there. And next we have our ghee, which is a clarified butter. And just go and do like a Google search on ghee. It's spelled G-H-E-E, and you can learn all about ghee. It's an Indian butter, and it just has, it's a little healthier than regular butter. So I also like to take, about half a teaspoon of this butter. And now I'm using the spoon in the rice cooker, but I'm being very careful not to let it touch the inner pot. And then the next thing I will add is some olive oil. So we'll go ahead and place this in here. And I'm a big fan of olive oil, so it's maybe a little bit more than you'd use, but it makes it quite tasty. So now I will just go ahead and stir this all around. And the great thing about the rice cooker is if you're not quite ready to eat or you want to save some for later, you can keep the rice cooker warm, and these condiments will really seep and soak into your food. and it's almost like marinating your food in salt and spices and ghee and olive oil. So it makes it actually really quite tasty. So I think we've got that pretty much mixed in. And at this point, it is time to try our creation. So normally I would use a ladle for this, but I think we're okay. So let me just go and get a little bit more. Let me get some zucchini in there. So here we go. Get some zucchini, some sweet potato. That's great. That's great. This is why I keep coming back to this recipe and this rice cooker. Really tasty. Just one more bite here. Well, this is something that I do suggest that you try at home. Really tasty. And let me just wrap this show up with all you guys so I can eat a little bit more. But I just want to say thanks for joining me on the first ever Cooking with Kyle show. Would love to hear your feedback and your comments. You can either post your comments directly on the YouTube page here, or you can contact me at it's the Cooking with Kyle show at gmail.com. That's spelled like it sounds. The Cooking with Kyle show at gmail.com. And one final thing to wrap up is that I do have a Cooking with Kyle show special. I have 2 of these rice cookers, brand new rice cookers, never been used, for sale for only $80. These rice cookers do retail on sites like Amazon.com for around $110. But as a Cooking with Kyle show special, only $80. I only have 2 of these. And as an added bonus, if you do purchase one of these rice cookers, and if you live in the Bay Area, I will deliver this rice cooker to your kitchen and teach you how to make another delicious recipe in the rice cooker, and also answer any questions that you may have about the rice cooker. So enjoy your cooking. Thanks for joining me, and would love to hear from you.